Shalom, Sister Kate here. I watched a documentary put out by the British Museum on findings at the explosion and the destruction of Pompeii, which happened in 79 AD. And they have found with recent excavations another city that was, I think they said Pompeii was a little bit east of Vesuvius, and Herculaneum was a little bit west and south. And Herculaneum was a smaller city. And in both of them, the archaeologists are finding just all sorts of information about life in those days at that time, because when Vesuvius went off, the pyroclastic flow caught everybody in that very moment when it rolled down the mountain and hit their particular cities, and it just kind of, it's almost like somebody being frozen in ice. It just captures the moment and everything, their surroundings, and just everything about their homes, frescoes on their walls. There was a particular room where somebody was making a painting on the wall, and the paint actually like the guy got hit with that flow and just fell down, and the paint dragged down the wall. So they didn't understand the nature of a volcano in those days. They knew it could explode. There had been a serious earthquake about 30 or 40 years beforehand, but they didn't understand the science behind it, and so they just lived in the shadow of that volcano. And a painting hanging on a wall in a rich person's house portrayed the volcano as not active anymore. It's more like a mountain covered in grapevines and so on. So something that really caught my attention in that movie, that documentary, was a cradle. There was like a formation. The people, the whole city's got covered in 20 feet of ash. And so the people themselves were buried, and it kind of formed a cavity in the ash where the human body was. And then when the body rots, as it inevitably will, it left a space in there. And then so when these cavities were discovered in the 1800s, they put plaster of Paris down in the cavity, and that is like a statue of the reverse of that hole that was made where the people were. And so in the homes and things, in Pompeii, a lot of stuff was just scorched, destroyed. In Herculaneum, it wasn't as hot, or maybe it's the opposite. Either way, it doesn't matter. In one of the cities, anything made of wood is just carbonized. It turns into charcoal, and the charcoal was there. The archaeologists dig up, as they're digging up this 20 feet of ash, they're finding wooden things carbonized. So this cradle is made of charcoal. And what really struck me about it is exactly like cradles today. It had a little rounded bottom on it so it could rock. And then there's slats in the bottom of it, just like beds have had for, hundreds, thousands of years. Slats in the bottom of it to hold some kind of mattress, and then wooden sides, kind of like this fencing, if you can see it, wooden sides, so that the little occupant inside could not fall out. And just the sheer humanity of it, I guess, really struck me, because those people were living 2,000 years ago, close to 2,000 years ago. And yet their lifestyle, the kind of things they did, the kind of things they ate, and the furniture they had in their homes is exactly like ours. Humankind doesn't change that much. The normal daily needs that we have doesn't change that much. So these chickens that I have in my chicken run are doing things that chickens have been doing for 2,000 years, and they're eating the same kind of stuff, and I'm eating their eggs just like people in those days would have eaten eggs and their birds. One of the homes there had a garden in the middle of it, and plants portrayed in that garden are plants that I've got here now, like roses, like daisies, fruit trees. And I wanted to show you this plant right here is a grapevine. And I pruned a lot of the leaves off the top of it, just like those people would have. They probably didn't hang bags off it like I did, but they would have eaten and did eat the fruit from grapevines. They made raisins and they made wine. And vinegar. The Romans drank vinegar. Vinegar is the an alcoholic drink that goes bad. It changes into vinegar, and they drank that as a health drink. So it's just kind of amazing how seeing history, seeing what people really did, not a fantasy, but what they ate. They had bread loaves that they actually cut in 8 pieces, and then they had a string tied around it. They had jewelry in their homes. They had paintings on the walls. They had amphora with oil in it that they ate. They had a forum in their town, which was like a town center where everybody could gather and discuss ideas and everything. And they really weren't that different than us today, because people don't change that much. And so on one hand, I'm going to tie this into Antifa in that I know the people who are trying to bring about change right now are not happy with the way their lives have gone. I get that. I don't necessarily think it's an unfair system. I think they need a culture change to switch what they value as a culture to wanting to get ahead, to work hard, because it's really difficult, short of, doing something illegal, to just have money appear from nowhere. Paris Hilton's family opened hotels around the world. That's how she got her money. Of course, she was born into it, but her father wasn't. He built that. So I get that people are unhappy, but when you look at the past, life for us is not that much different. You can grow your own food, or you can buy your food. You can create things with your own hands, or you can pay somebody else to create them. I really think hard work is what gets people into the lifestyle they want. It's not an easy fix for most people. And I love looking at history. I just love looking at what happened there. I'm sure after that volcanic eruption, that area probably had nothing going on for a while. They probably had the dark skies, little sunlight, no crops, and it probably wasn't settled for years, because I just talked about the Krakatoa eruption and how that would have influenced the world. Well, this Vesuvius eruption would have influenced their world, and it did. All right, thanks for watching, y'all. Bless you. Shalom.